Innotribe, please welcome Innotribe Startup Challenge Manager, Kevin Johnson.
Woo! Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Innotribe at Sibos. Welcome to our 7th year of Innotribe at Sibos. Over the past 7 years, we've strived to bring forward-looking content that makes sense to the financial industry. We're now here on the main floor, and we've got a packed program for you this week. I'm going to go over the program details later on, but before I start, just a very quick thing. If anything goes horribly wrong, you'll see me running out of that door there. Please follow me. That's the fire exit. It's not that I've completely messed up on stage, although that might happen. But rather than this being all about me, I'm going to welcome on stage to give our opening keynote, to set the tone for the week, the head of Innotribe, ladies and gentlemen, Fabian van den Rijt.
Morning. Good morning. For those of you who were there last year, when we did the closing, Peter Rinson, a good friend of ours, said, it's great, Innotribe is super great, but guys, you need to be at the core of the discussions, not at the side of the discussion. So we took that very seriously. So now we are at the core of the exhibition, first. And two, also at the core of the Swift strategy. If you look at my title, for whatever that means, the only thing that is important there is that Innotribe is working with market management. It's the same group as market management. And I think a lesson from an organizational standpoint is that innovation is the business. It's not something at the side of. And I think now it's mature enough so that it's part of the day-to-day business strategy rather than as an afterthought. So I'm going to talk about a lady or a man with many choices and little time. When you read into the press, when you go to conferences, I don't know about you, but when you leave the conference, you have a head like that, saying so many things, so many innovations, so many new players, so many banks investing left and right in technologies. We have to rush. We have no time. And I think my message today, there is a fear of missing out something. There is all of us in our day-to-day life, also in our professional life, we fear that we are going to miss the next big thing, the next innovation. And it's great. It's great to be alert. It's great to be attentive. But it's not good to be chaotic, and it's not good to just go and invest left and right without a plan. So my message for you today is a message of peace and harmony. Okay? Innovation is also about peace and harmony. There is no need to be super moving in all directions. Doesn't mean that you need to be complacent as an incumbent. It doesn't mean that you need to be defensive. But it does mean that you need to give priority to what I think is the future of everything, which is design and architecture. I do believe that if you want to make sense of innovation, you need to place it in a broader context of designing what you want to be as an institution. And I don't mean architecture as an IT term. It is, but it's the enterprise architecture. It's the business architecture. And I think if you want to start making sense, like talking heads would say, of innovation, you need to place it into an architecture. You need to say, which building blocks do I need for my business going forward? And then you can go and work with startups, and then you can go and work with other banks, software vendors, universities, to put the right building blocks at the right place. And that's where I think if we follow that mindset, then suddenly life is a bit more harmonious and less of a fear of missing out. So I hope you like this. So yesterday when I was preparing this, I was talking with a colleague or a friend at McKinsey about this. So I thought, McKinsey 2x2 matrix. So I said I'm going to do a 2x2 matrix, and I don't have the answers. But maybe this week some of the answers will come. If you look at innovation or new things, we talk a lot about disruptive innovation. I look at it in two ways. First, is it an innovation which is for competitive advantage of a single player versus a building blocks in that architecture that is for the public good, that is necessary for all of us banks to work properly? So that's the first question, because it influences the way you want to do innovation. If it's for your competitive advantage, you are not going to share it. If it's for the public good, you actually have to, otherwise it doesn't work. That's one angle. The second angle is disruptive. Disruptive to me means it wipes out everything in 1 year and there is something new. That's disruptive. Versus it's incremental, building blocks building, and then it has to build and transition from something that exists today. But it needs to be backward compatible, otherwise it will not work in our industry. So the template for the week, and think about it, whenever you talk about innovation, any type of innovation, where does it fit? So we at Swift, obviously, we are a cooperative, an industry utility. We help various financial institutions make the best out of technology. So we're probably looking at public good when we talk about technology. And we evolve the system to make it more scalable, more resilient, but to have it work with what exists today. So our strategy is probably on the top right of that matrix. Okay? But you might have different ones. So, I'm trying to look at, I actually sorted my tie with the logo of the Medici Bank, because when I was in London earlier this year, I was trying to find a logo of a startup, old startup. And so I fell on Medici Bank, which is an old institution that died in the 15th century. But interestingly enough, they don't invent it, but they perfected the general ledger system. That's Medici Bank. And today, when we talk about distributed ledger, let's not forget that the ledger was invented way back. And what we see now is another way to make that ledger available to a broad infrastructure, a broad environment. But the startup was a bank at the time. And not only they are known for that, but they're also known for the Medici effect, which is a bit what Innotribe is all about, is bringing people from different cultural or business backgrounds, and by putting them together, they work better, and the outcome is better than if they didn't. So this week, there will be a huge program, very interesting sessions. Kevin or Chris will talk about that. The only thought I want you to keep from my presentation is keep it cool. There's no fear of missing out. Get your architecture, your future state in your head, and then collaborate with those who have similar needs, engaging startups, engaging more mature companies, and engaging your fellow colleagues at banks. Thank you very much. Have a good week.
No. Thank you, Fabien. So, well, we look at startups. So the Medici as one of the first startups in the world. It's a really interesting way of looking at this. What I want to do now is talk you through what's going to happen this week. So, okay, that's going to have to wait. I'm going to put this down. So we have some breaking news, as you can see. We've heard this morning that McKinsey & Company are launching a new fintech app. Now, there are quite a few fintech apps out there, but we think this one's a little bit different. We've asked them, and they've provided us some VT about what this is about. So I think we've got that. If we could cue that up, we'll give you a little bit of an insight into what the new McKinsey Panorama app's all about. Okay, so some big numbers in there. Fintech seems to be massive. And when Fabian kicked things off, he mentioned somebody in the audience from McKinsey. So, Mario, I'm going to pick on you. Would you care to join me on stage? Maybe you can have a quick chat about what Panorama is, and maybe take there. And as it happens, I have a microphone for you. So, Mario, welcome to the Innotribe stage.
Thank you very much, Kevin. What a surprise and quite exciting. Certainly, I'm being put on the spot here, but I'm a managing partner of McKinsey Ventures, which is McKinsey's corporate venture capital focused on digital, big data, and advanced analytics platforms. And indeed, I must say that I've spent over 20 years between financial services and technology, and now it's really the time where I'm most excited. We're seeing significant innovations and incredible opportunities going forward. And Panorama FinTech really aims at responding to a lot of our client needs, pretty much answering what Fabian's question was. So many choices, so little time.
Well, so we've got the answers already. Fabian? No, he seems to have left that. He's got the answers. Okay, so you say you've got the answers, but there's 12,000 fintechs? Surely it's kind of a big mess. How do you, and there's lots of databases out there. What makes this unique? How do you find the answers?
No, that's right. I think, look, fintech is a ground of constant innovation. There is 12,000 innovators that we have mapped, over time, and certainly is a landscape that is ever evolving. I think, that what we're trying to do with Panorama FinTech is three things. First, it's a comprehensive database. We have mapped the most distinctive innovation in the industry. Secondly, is curated by McKinsey, which means that we help also with quick assessments for you to figure out, is this startup, is this innovation truly distinctive? How do I capture the value from it? And finally, there is, as you have seen, functionality that helps you dissect to quickly figure out where should you play. I mean, fintech is such a vast landscape. Which are the verticals, which are the parts of the value chain that we should play in, and what's the economic value? How do I capture the economic value from that?
Okay, so we know McKinsey as a consulting company. So this is your fintech sort of toe in the water, or are you doing other things in this space as well?
Yeah, no, McKinsey has been heavily involved in the fintech landscape. We work obviously with large banks, financial institutions. We're also working with digital attackers, in startups. And where McKinsey Ventures comes in is that integrates seamlessly with our consulting services, the deep industry expertise that we have, and provides three things. One is the type of digital platforms that help our clients accelerate performance. Panorama FinTech is an example of that. We have over 30 of these applications. Secondly, we've built an ecosystem of key partners so that then when we work with clients, we don't only bring the best that the firm has to offer internally, but also an ecosystem that is the best externally. And then finally, we work with innovators, whether organically within financial institutions or startups, to really build them into distinctive players, scale them, and integrate so that players can actually capture the value, because that's one of the key questions. We all want to play in this space, but how do we capture the value from fintech?
Okay, well, Mario, thank you very much. One final thing before I let you sit back down. Where can we get this? Is it downloadable? Are you here at Sibos? Where can people find this?
Yeah, you're welcome to come and visit us in our McKinsey stand. Of course, look us up online. Happy to talk afterwards. Of course. And by the way, I should say, I'm told that this is the corner of the conference where things really happen. So I'm glad that you're all here today.
Brilliant. Well, Mario, thank you very much. Thank you for coming up. I'll take that off you. Okay, there's one more piece of breaking news that we've got, I hope. Ta-da! Okay, what we're trying to do with Innotribe, as Fabian said, is bring ecosystems together. We're trying to bring people together to really create this Medici effect of bringing financial institutions, startups, software vendors, all into one space to all think, to talk, to network, to exchange ideas. So what we're doing on Wednesday evening, and this is an invitation to you all, in a place called BASH, which stands for Builder Startup Hub, it's across the other side of Singapore, we're putting on a small networking event. We're bringing together the local Singapore fintech ecosystem with the global fintech ecosystem, which is you guys. So this is an invitation from us to you to come and join us for an evening of drinks, food, and networking. It's sponsored by our good friends at Wells Fargo and Standard Chartered. Entry's free. Please come and join us. Meet some really interesting innovators, both locally and globally, so you can connect and hopefully make some really good connections that will help drive your business on. So thank you very much. So, back to where I was before I was rudely interrupted. I'm going to talk you through the agenda for the week. There's a couple of things. The first one, you may have seen on your seats, this lovely brochure. This brochure here is the product of a huge amount of hard work, mostly by Audrey, who's sitting over in the back hiding from everybody. Could you stand up, Audrey, and give everybody a wave? Thank you. So this brochure's not only got the startups that we've got on site, we've got the startups that we've got around the outside of our stand in our startup village. It's also got the complete program of every single session that we're doing here at Innotribe. During the week, we've themed this week into 4 days. Today is everything about platforms. This is platform economics, platform business models, blockchain, all the way through to disruptions. Tomorrow, I'll get out of the way, we're going to be talking about society. This is everything from millennials, we're going to include regulation, financial inclusion, we've got Costa from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation coming in, and we're going to end up with a session on refugees. On Wednesday, we're going to take a look at innovation. We've got 8 of the world's leading fintech hubs right here in this very room, talking about why banks need fintech hubs, what the value proposition is for banks. And then in the afternoon, upstairs in conference room 2, we've got the Startup Challenge finale. So all 12 startups who've made it through from our 4 showcases in London, Cape Town, Singapore, and New York will be on show upstairs pitching for the grand prize of $50,000. The cash is important, but what's more important is the connections they're going to make with you. So I really urge you all to come up and see us and sort of take some time there. And then on Thursday, we're going to round off the week with machine intelligence. Everything from IBM Watson, the Pepper robot, all the way through to looking at how machines are not just going to look at taking jobs away, but actually create a new type of economy. But rather than me talking week-wide, and you forgetting where we are by the time we get to Wednesday or Thursday, I want somebody up here who actually knows what platforms are. I kind of know what they are, but the person I'm going to get up on stage now is a guy who is doing this for a living, day in, day out. I'd like you to welcome onto the Innotribe stage Christopher Wasden from the University of Utah, who's the chair of platform economics.
Whatever you want to call me, I'll accept that title.
Executive Director. Well, there you go. Chris, thank you very much.
All right, good. Thank you very much. All right, to help all of us apply what Fabian just talked about, these building blocks of innovation, so we can all apply the Medici effect, we've got today structured in such a way that we'll kick it off by talking about all these new entrants. We've had an unprecedented level of financial investment into startups in the financial services industry. And with that now, we've got a new ecosystem of these new companies, and so it's called New Kids on the Blockchain Platform. Next, we'll talk about the future of money. The Economist this last week had an article that lamented the fact that we haven't moved away from traditional money more quickly. Are we at a real inflection point now in the transformation of money and the way that we will actually use currencies in the future? Next, we'll focus on platform disruption and the business of APIs. As we all know, platforms have 3 elements. They have a core, they have peripherals, and they have interfaces that connect the peripherals with the core. APIs in the digital world in which we live today are those interfaces. And what this requires now is a completely different way to think about platforms as ecosystems and open ecosystems that can interoperate and integrate with one another through these APIs. And so you have to develop businesses based upon API strategies at the core of any platform strategy that you have. Next, we'll look at killer platforms, the Chinese road to platform disruption. We actually see now, with the emergence of China as a great economic power, second in the world, the emergence now of new platform strategies that they have with aspirations to have a significant payment role in the future. And finally, we'll end the day with exploring real-world disruptive scenarios. Innotribe has spent this last year exploring platform economics and the application to them within financial services. We will share with you the research that we've come up with during this past year, where we're looking at the key factors and drivers of platform disruption in the financial services industry, and then we'll share with you a couple of the scenarios that we came up with, which are visions of the future, which then cause you to ask the questions of what are the strategic options and the real options that you should have within your businesses in order to survive in a highly disruptive world. So with that, we invite you to participate in today as well as the rest of the week and to apply the Medici effect and develop your own building blocks of innovation.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, so normally this session would run for a little bit longer, but what we're going to do, we're going to give you a little bit of an extended break this morning. So during this break, I encourage you to go visit our coffee bar, grab a great coffee, and when you've got the coffee, have a wander around the stand. We've got 11 of our growth stage companies who are around the outside in our startup village. There's everything from blockchain technology through to reference data in there. I encourage you to go around, have a look, have a chat with these guys. They did some great work this year. They've come back to share that with everybody here at Sibos. And we hope to see you back in here at 10:15 for the New Kids on the Blockchain. It promises to be a very full event, so come back early and get your seat. Thank you very much. Enjoy Sibos.